Valley's News Channel. This is Channel 5 News at 5.
Good afternoon. I'm Oscar Adame. Melissa Correa is on assignment. And we begin this afternoon with new information on a deadly wreck that involves 39 illegal immigrants. FAR police sending in some photos of a white cargo van that rolled over on Monday. That van locked up at FAR PD right now. We ran the plates, found out it's registered to a man out of Mission. A 16-year-old boy from Hidalgo was behind the wheel of that van. Agents noticed him and the van near the river just after 5:30. Agents tried to stop the van and failed to stop it. The vehicle failed to stop that vehicle. Authorities say the teen instead led them on a 3-mile pursuit. The van rolled south of FAR along Jackson Road. The 16-year-old teen was killed. Those 39 illegal immigrants are out of the hospital. We are learning more about them. The feds say they are from Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. Right now, they are with Border Patrol agents. They will soon be in ICE custody for deportation proceedings. 2 people are dead after a pursuit involving Border Patrol near Kingsville. Channel 5's Steve Solis has been tracking this story all day. He has the latest from Kingsville.
We're out here in front of Christus Spohn Hospital Clayburgh in Kingsville. This is where 8 people were brought after this morning's crash. Now, this all happened around 9 o'clock this morning south of Kingsville on US 77. DPS tells me that Border Patrol tried to stop a Chevy Tahoe with 9 people inside. The SUV stopped briefly before running from the Border Patrol agents. After a short pursuit on northbound 77, DPS tells me the SUV drove off the road and flipped over numerous times. 1 person died at the scene. 8 people were transported to the hospital here in Kingsville, where another person from that SUV died. We are told the remaining 7 are here at Christus Spohn getting treated for their injuries. Border Patrol is also here at the hospital, keeping a close eye on those patients. Now, DPS tells me they are still investigating the cause of this crash. Reporting from Kingsville, Steve Solis, Channel 5 News at 5.
Well, now at 5, the Border Patrol is responding to our questions about those 2 pursuits, the one today and the one back on Monday. This afternoon, Border Patrol says this: the results of both unfortunately illustrate the dangers of illegally crossing the border, where the risks of injuries, death, or falling prey to the smugglers are always present. CBP has protocols to ensure we accomplish the mission while ensuring the safety of our officers and agents as well as the public. State troopers and FAR police are now investigating those accidents. New details on a deadly accident in Edinburgh. We first broke this story on Channel 5 News at 5 yesterday. We now know the name of the victim and the age of the driver. Our Kirk Chason is in the newsroom with details. Kirk?
Yeah, Oscar, the victim's now identified as 23-year-old Francisco Javier Coronado. Coronado was the passenger in a car when the driver lost control and flipped the vehicle. It happened near the Freddy Gonzalez exit on Highway 281. Police say Coronado was partially ejected from the vehicle. He died on impact. They say the driver is a 23-year-old from Edinburgh. He has still not been charged in this case. Witnesses allegedly saw him crawl out of the car and pick up packages that were strewn across the highway. The packages had drugs inside. The suspect ran off. He was later arrested near Vela High School. The 23-year-old now facing numerous charges. They include accident involving death, failure to report a felony, and possession of a controlled substance. The driver expected to be officially charged tomorrow. Live in the newsroom, Kirk Chason, Channel 5 News at 5.
New at 5, a former high-ranking commander in the Gulf Cartel now in federal custody in Starr County. Starr County District Attorney Omar Escobar says Border Patrol agents arrested Orlando Roberto Comandante Boris Rodriguez the day before Thanksgiving. Escobar says Rodriguez consented to a search of a home in Starr County. Agents found $180,000 in cash inside a hidden compartment. Rodriguez faces federal charges of money laundering and illegal re-entry.
Hey folks, this day started with fog across the valley, and then we ended up with just clouds valley-wide. By the way, we are at Bert Ogden Nissan in McAllen, where we're honoring our Students of the Week today. The table's still empty right now, but they're about to fill up. I see the students coming in. You get to meet some of them a little bit later on. But about those clouds, about that fog, it's not going anywhere. The clouds aren't. Take a look at our currents, see where we stand temperature-wise right now. And the readings all in the upper 60s and low 70s. McAllen, still the cool spot, a little warmer closer to the coast, 71 in both Brownsville and Harlingen. Port Isabel at 69. That wind out of the south-southeast about 6 miles an hour. Again, it looks like that fog could be a problem again tonight. And these clouds, they're not going anywhere at all anytime soon. We'll update the forecast for you from Bert Ogden Nissan coming up just a little bit later on.
Texas Attorney General and Governor-elect Greg Abbott suing the Obama administration over the executive order on immigration. Abbott claims the president unlawfully rewrote laws passed by Congress. The order gives immigrants with legal family members in the U.S. to get work papers. Nearly 5 million would also be protected from deportation. Texas is joined by 16 other states, mostly in the South and Midwest. Abbott says Texas would be most impacted by the president's ruling because of the border it shares with Mexico. Governor Perry also taking some action, ordering state agencies to start using E-Verify to make sure potential employees are in the country legally. E-Verify is an internet-based system that allows businesses to see if their employees are eligible to work in the U.S. It is a free service. Perry says the president's actions on immigration will create nothing but more chaos for criminals to exploit.
Human traffickers, criminal elements on both sides of the border thrive on uncertainty. And President Obama's actions will create nothing but more chaos for these individuals to exploit.
A Texas budget panel approved a request for $86 million to extend state law enforcement on the border until October 31st of next year. A woman convicted in a fake Botox case was sentenced today. Noemi Mimi Gonzalez pled guilty to injecting unsuspecting clients with liquid silicone. She faced prison time for practicing medicine without a license. Instead, she received probation, but in exchange, she must pay her victims' medical bills. The victim appeared in court today. She didn't want to go on camera. She racked up $22,000 in medical bills so far to get the silicone removed, and doctors say future surgeries will cost another $30,000. Tonight, she has a warning for others.
It isn't worth it. Don't believe it. Don't believe any woman that. Don't let them lie to you because it's a lie. They give you an illusion of false beauty. That's what they do. When, in reality, they're just injecting you with death.
Gonzalez has until January 7th to pay her victims' medical bills. If she does not, she could face prison time. Well, students at the University of Texas Brownsville are now safer on campus. Those emergency towers are working again, at least some of them. Channel 5 first told you about the broken towers last month. A student told us the emergency towers hadn't worked all semester. Spokesperson Letty Fernandez says 7 of the towers are now operational. 3 more towers are still down, but security officers are posted at those broken towers. Some sites here they consider priority sites. They expect those remaining towers to be fixed by tonight. A Pharr daycare owner is thankful to have her equipment back. Lupita's Daycare Center in Pharr was burglarized last week. The thieves stole a computer that had the children's personal information stored. Police say they were able to recover that computer after a tip came in on where it could be found. Pharr police say they are still looking for the suspects. Anyone with information can contact their Crime Stoppers line at 787-TIPS. Michael Brown's stepdad under the microscope for comments he made after the grand jury's decision on not to indict Darren Wilson. Was an outburst just a reaction of grief, or was it a crime? And the tab for security in Ferguson, Missouri is mounting. Taxpayers will foot the bill. We'll let you know how in 2 minutes. You're watching Channel 5 News at 5.
Breaking news. Breaking stories. This is Channel 5 News with Oscar Adame, Melissa Correa, and First Warn 5 Weather with Chief Meteorologist Tim Smith. This is Channel 5 News at 5.
(603) to schedule an appointment today.
Michael Brown's stepdad is under investigation for that outburst you just heard. He made it following the grand jury's decision on not to indict Darren Wilson for gunning down his stepson. The fallout leading to discussions on race relations across America. Brian Nobles is following the latest developments.
It was a moment of frustration from a family suffering a serious loss. Lewis Head's outburst the night authorities announced a police officer wouldn't be indicted in Michael Brown's death led law enforcement to consider a charge of inciting a riot. Head, the stepfather of Michael Brown, issued an apology Wednesday, and it seems unlikely he will be charged. His initial comments, another example of the struggle to heal after a damaging few months in Missouri, damage that has spread across America.
The notion that white cops are out there just killing black people, that's ridiculous.
NBA Hall of Famer Charles Barkley says the black community needs to use the Ferguson situation to bring both sides together.
The biggest problem with it is we never discuss race until something bad happens.
That discussion could be affected by a controversial decision in New York. A grand jury has decided not to indict a police officer in the death of a black man in Staten Island. Police say Eric Gardner resisted arrest after they accused him of illegally selling loose cigarettes. He's seen being put into a chokehold and held down before becoming unresponsive, all caught on camera. This as the conversation of race, police, and the use of force continues, with Ferguson at the tense epicenter. In Washington, I'm Ryan Nobles.
St. Louis area police union members are keeping watch over Darren Wilson, and they say they'll keep doing it as long as he needs it. Union members have voluntarily been providing security for Wilson since the August 9th shooting. Part of their duties include transporting Wilson to undisclosed locations. Wilson not paying for the service. His attorney says he has been the target of hundreds of death threats. And St. Louis County elected officials will vote to ensure that all county police get their overtime checks. Taxpayers will have to cover some $3.4 million in costs from August through November 20th. There are also expenses for rental equipment, supplies, and protective clothing. The county says they'll cover that overtime and other costs from a $6 million emergency fund.
Well, today is the day we honor our Students of the Week. We're doing that at Bert Ogden Nissan in McAllen. When we come back, I'll have your forecaster here, and your forecast calls for more clouds, more fog. Still kind of the way it was today all week long. We'll check that forecast when we come back.
And now, First Warn 5 weather with Chief Meteorologist Tim Smith.
Hey folks, this day started with a lot of fog across the valley. It burned off. We ended up with still clouds, so the fog is just a little higher off the ground right now. But it's going to come back tonight, and I think we're going to be stuck with the fog all night and the clouds. We may be stuck with those all week long. We are at Bert Ogden Nissan in McAllen, where tonight we are honoring our Students of the Week. Perhaps you've met some of them during the last several weeks when they've been on early in the morning with Lauren talking about all the great things that they plan to do in the future and all the great things they've done in the past. They're trickling in here now. We'll be awarding their scholarships a little bit later on. Okay, let's go back to weather. Let's take a look outside right now. WeatherBug this evening is in McAllen, right up the street from us at Lone Star National Bank. We're at 66 degrees, and the wind has gone relatively calm. I'm looking out the window here, and there's flags outside that aren't moving at all. They are holding steady, not doing much of anything, so the wind has died down. And that's one of those things you look for when you want to see fog, calm winds, and we have that tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Doppler, because on the Doppler network it's showing some moisture just offshore. It stayed there for the most part all day today, but it's close enough that we might have to deal with a few sprinkles, especially near the coast tonight into tomorrow. If you're inland, I think your chances of seeing rain are, I don't want to say non-existent, but there's not a very good chance. Temperatures across the area right now, upper 60s in the western part of the valley, lower 70s in the east. You can see it's 71 from Raymondville all the way to Brownsville, but then a little cooler in the west. It's just taking a little bit longer for the warm air to build into the western part of the valley. Lows tonight, take a look. We expect readings to drop into the low to mid 60s across the area, 62 to 66. So in other words, we're not moving much at all. Temperatures are holding pretty steady all night long. We've almost bottomed out already in some places. Not going to get much cooler. Then tomorrow we're back into the upper 70s and low 80s with a lot of clouds sticking around all day long tomorrow. Let's look at Saturday from around the state of Texas and see what's going on. And you know, we're not alone in our cloud cover. Look at that. Almost the entire state socked in clouds today, and a lot of the state's going to stay that way. Future Track picks up on the clouds that are here, shows fronts all over the place, but it's going to be a while before any of those fronts get to us. So fog tonight, mostly cloudy tomorrow, an isolated sprinkle a possibility. That's tomorrow's map. We move forward to Friday. That front is gone, but here comes another one. That front in North Texas on Friday continues pushing southward and then stalls almost right on top of us late Saturday into Sunday. It gets really close Saturday. Sunday it stalls on top of us. Then we wait for kind of a secondary push of cooler air to come in on Monday. Once that happens, we'll cool off a little bit for early next week. But you notice the clouds have not gone anywhere. They just don't budge. Across the rest of Texas here, the temperatures kind of cool in Amarillo, 47, 57 in Dallas, 58 in San Antonio, 64 degrees in Laredo right now. Let's take a look at your travel map for tomorrow. Let's see what it's going to look like early. Temperatures, you notice, 50s and 60s, and as the day goes on by late, you see we're still 50s and 60s. But look up north. It's a cold start to the day in the Panhandle. By afternoon, readings climb back into the 50s in Amarillo, 60s in San Antonio, and in Houston. So for tonight, 62 for a low, clouds and sprinkle. Fog, a possibility, again tonight. Then tomorrow, we start with the fog early, and the clouds don't go away, but the fog does. Could be a little drizzle, a sprinkler or two around. Highs tomorrow around 79 degrees with light east-southeasterly winds, not much more than about 5 to 13 miles per hour. So we keep temperatures right around 80, give or take a degree the next 3 days. Fog in the morning tomorrow, that's probably the biggest chance we have of fog is tonight and tomorrow. After that, it may not be an issue. By Sunday, a front stalls right on top of us. Could give us a sprinkler or two, maybe a shower. And then notice by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, we cool it off a little bit. Readings fall into the 60s once again. So again, at 6 o'clock, you'll get to at least see some of the students, maybe meet a couple of them. We're going to honor our Students of the Week here at Bert Ogden Nissan in McAllen. That's your updated First One 5 forecast.
There's some confusion over the identity of a woman trying to cross the Syrian border into Lebanon. She initially was said to be the wife of a top ISIS leader. What sources are now saying about it in 2.5 minutes. And coalition forces continue to attack ISIS, but one other country has joined in on the fight against the militants. We'll be right back.
El Pollo Loco, crazy you can taste it.
Iraq's Interior Ministry says the woman detained by Lebanese authorities is not the wife of Abu al-Baghdadi, the leader of the terror group ISIS. It contradicts earlier reports that had said one of his wives and son had been detained while trying to enter Lebanon from Syria. The Iraqi government says the woman's name doesn't match any of al-Baghdadi's wives, but it's reported the unnamed woman is very active with ISIS.
It's interesting that she was trying to come across into that part of Lebanon at a time when Western forces were making a concerted effort to try and make sure that that part of Lebanon was stable. So it hints at some information mismanagement.
What Twitter accounts used by ISIS members deny Baghdadi's wife had been arrested. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says coalition allies still hitting ISIS where it hurts. This is some video given to the U.S. by the Iraqi Ministry of Defense. And the president of France says his country is ready to back up U.S. and coalition forces on the takedown of ISIS. France will send in 6 fighter jets. That's in addition to 12 French aircraft already participating in strikes in Iraq. Iran allegedly attacked the terror group with some airstrikes, but that country is denying it.
Clouds hanging thick across the valley this evening. Looks like they're going to do that for quite some time. Of course, the other issue is fog. We'll track the fog, update your forecast for the next 7 days when we come back.
Coming up on Channel 5 News at 6, Brownsville police still trying to find out the identity of the woman who fell while climbing the border fence yesterday. Our Shelley Childers will have all the latest details. And the suspect who shot and wounded a McAllen police officer earlier this week is still on the run. The officer wasn't wearing a body camera, and the patrol unit he was in didn't have a camera either. In 30 minutes, our Michael Scott shows us how One Valley Police Department is not going to let a similar incident happen in their city.
All these clouds overhead not showing any signs of going anywhere anytime soon, so get used to probably not needing the sunglasses. And tonight, you'll need fog lights because it looks like the fog's going to get a little thick across the area once again. Look at the 7-day forecast, put it all together, and you see that fog tonight, early tomorrow, then it warms up. We're up close to 80 all the way into the weekend. A little cooler on Sunday, and then Monday another front comes in and it cools off a little bit for early next week with a shower or two possible on Tuesday and Wednesday. Bottom line for tonight, fog will be the biggest issue later tonight, early tomorrow morning, especially near the coast, but it could spread all the way inland before the night is over with. An update for you coming up at 6 o'clock.
It is wintertime, and remember, you can help people across the valley stay warm this winter with Tim's Coats. Take your coats to any one of the dry cleaners you see on your screen. They will clean and mend the coats if needed, and from there they'll be sent to Catholic Charities and the Salvation Army. Remember, coats for children and adults are needed. And we thank you for joining us. Have yourself a great evening. Bye-bye.